people come here because they've had problems with their benefits, or they've the start of the school holidays when their children have free school meals and they're no longer available in the holidays. We've had big families, little families, and it's really rewarding to help people.
It's making a huge difference to people, that some people come here in an absolutely desperate state, and just knowing that they've got somebody who can listen to them and give them that little bit of help just changes their perspective and gives them hope.
And then I heard about the food bank and I was entitled to a voucher, and it just made me think to myself, I wish more people knew about this.
Very interestingly, I was speaking to somebody at Lawrence Weston Baptist Church, and they were saying in their community it has changed the whole perception that people have of the church, and they're starting to trust them so much more.
Made a great big difference to me, and it lifted me morally. It made me feel, I don't know, that I suppose in some ways that I was being cared for.
I was at New Wine in 2010, and it was before I'd moved to Bristol. And I was really asking God about what he wanted me to do while I was here for 2 years, while my husband was training. And God just spoke to me in a really significant way. I was at a meeting one morning, and I just felt God saying to me that he was giving me a new territory. And there was a verse from Joshua about new territory. And so I started to ask God what that was about. And a bit later that day, I was in the marketplace, and God said, go to this food bank stand, the Trussell Trust, who run food banks across the country. And I went to this stand, and I simply said to the lady, is there a food bank in Bristol? And she said no. And instantly I was in tears, and I just felt the presence of God come upon me. And so that was it, really. It was that spark. And so that I carried on that day seeking God over this. And I heard him say, go to Jenny's tent. And Jenny was a lady I'd set up a food bank sort of style of project with in Abingdon. And God said, go and ask her for her last tin. So I thought, that's a bit odd. But I went to Jenny's tent, and she said, I haven't got any food. But when she looked, she found one tin. And so she gave it to me, and she commissioned me for the Bristol Food Bank. So that was my seed, and I came to Bristol with that. And as I was driving around the area, I just heard God's voice saying, this is the place. So I contacted all the churches I could find on the internet. I just threw out my story of what God had been saying to me. And somehow I managed to get a group of churches together to start praying into and seeking God for what to do. And surprisingly, somebody gave me the money for the startup for the food bank, which was £1,500, without me telling anyone that I needed that initial money. So the churches that we were working with, when I asked for volunteers, over 30 people volunteered from 10 different churches, which was just amazing. And also we started speaking to agencies, and we now have over 40 agencies who hold our vouchers and give them to people that they meet who are in crisis.
I think the volunteers gain a lot because you've got companionship with other people. We've got volunteers who have been suffering from depression and things like that. It helps them to come here to see that other people need their help, and makes them feel useful and gives them some self-esteem at the same time.
I love working at the food bank. I really, really do. I love meeting the people. I love talking to them. I love listening to their stories, because we've all got stories to tell. It's lovely if they bring their children in, because they can see what good is being done, and now we're helping their parents and themselves. And if they get given a box to pick something nice out of, like a treat, to see their eyes light up, it's just, it just makes me feel great. It just makes me feel great, and I love it.
Before I left, left Abingdon, somebody gave me a picture of a knife cutting through butter and said that was something God had given to them. And somebody prayed for me when I moved to Bristol, and they had the same picture of a knife cutting through butter, and that was what it was going to be like setting up the food bank. So I can just see that God's promise has come true. It has been that easy.